R.U.L.E. The leap year born Queens native was one of hip-hop's brightest stars in the late 90s and early 2000s. One of the best hip-hop and R&B merging artists we've seen in this industry that built on what was there and made it a full lane. Let's give R.U.L.E. his rose. Jeffrey Bruce Atkins was born February 29, 1976 in Hollis, Queens in New York City. R.U.L.E. was raised as a Jehovah's Witness by his mother and his grandparents. His mother was a healthcare worker. She struggled to make ends meet, so a 12-year-old Ja started selling drugs to help his family out. While he was selling, he'd rap and use his trips out of town as a lyrical exercise. Some of his friends called him Ja, which may not be a coincidence considering his first and last initials are J and A, while other friends would call him R.U.L.E. R.U.L.E, R.O.S.E, and Chris Black would form a rap group called the Cash Money Clique with DJ R.U.L.E providing production. The guys' hardcore boom bap sound helped them land a deal with TVT Records. They got a $15,000 advance and came up with a plan to get rich. They put all their money together and bought some drugs with hopes of flipping the advance money, and they got to work making music. They started making quite a bit of buzz while building relationships through DJ R.U.L.E with the likes of Jay-Z, DMX, Mike Geronimo, and many others who they ended up creating quite a few records together with. While they were preparing the Cash Money Clique's debut album, Chris Black caught a 5-year case which put a wrench in their plans. Ja and DJ R.U.L.E, now going by R.U.L.E, started working on solo music. Ja met Foxy Brown in the club during a birthday party he was having on the same day her and Jay-Z were there to perform. Ja and R.U.L.E devised a plan to call the box every time Method Man's I'll Be There For You, You're All That I Need to Get By played, and requested the Cash Money Cliques get the fortune.
Don't risk it. Ja known for making heads split.
The plan actually worked. Lyor Cohen started asking around Def Jam if anybody knew about the Cash Money Clique. Foxy Brown mentioned that she did and told Lyor he should sign them. Lyor met up with R.U.L.E Ja and R.U.L.E and said, I only want the little guy. He also gave DJ R.U.L.E a job as an A&R at Def Jam. Ja and R.U.L.E came to an agreement to do what they needed to do while they worked their way out of their TVT deal. While preparing R.U.L.'s first single, R.U.L.E demoed a few of Ja's songs for Jay-Z. He played him Can I Get Her, which Hov said was a hit.
It ain't even a question how my dough flows. I'm good to these bad hoes.
Jay asked if he could use the song on his album, Volume 2, The Hard Knock Life, which Ja and R.U.L.E agreed to. The single being on Jay-Z's album made Ja a bigger name overnight. Jay-Z returned the favor featuring on 3 songs on Ja Rule's debut album. His debut album, Venni, Vecci, meaning I Came, I Saw, I Conquered in Latin, released June 1st, 1999, with his first single, Holla Holla, releasing 2 months earlier.
Holla, holla, all my niggas that's ready to get dollar, dollar.
This was the first album released under R.U.L.E.'s new record label, Murder Inc., by way of Def Jam Records. VVV landed at number 3 on the Billboard 200 just behind the Backstreet Boys and Ricky Martin. The album made Ja one of the new big 3 at Def Jam. Ja's deep tone, ferocious delivery, and jolting energy hooked fans. Ja was getting a lot of comparisons to label-mate DMX and Tupac, which caused some tension with X and Pac fans. Most comparisons would stop following the sophomore effort. VVV had R.U.L.E and Lil Rob handling the majority of the production with some help from Top Fife, Self, Eric Sermon, and a few others. The album boasts some great records like We Here Now, Most Dangerous, Niggas Theme, Story to Tell, and Daddy's Little Girl, just to name a few.
Daddy's little baby must learn this world is shady.
The album barely misses with some hard-hitting features as well. Let's Ride would get a very popular remix for the Light It Up movie and soundtrack, also appearing on the compilation for R.U.L.E Presents The Murderers. Ja was involved in the Murderers album, with the biggest record being We Don't Give a F and the before-mentioned song.
Cause if y'all don't give a fuck like we don't give a fuck, throw your motherfucking fingers in there.
After his debut passed 2 million, he began preparations on the follow-up. For his sophomore effort, Ja didn't want to repeat his tales of struggling. He wasn't struggling no more. He was making money. He opted to make songs for women, stating a lack of that in VVV. He named the album Rule 336, which was a Bible reference for John 3:36. Ja changed it to mean, he who believes in Ja shall have everlasting love. He who does not shall not see life, but the wrath of my vengeance, pain is love. Led by the hit single Between Me and You, the album was a huge success for Ja.
Every little thing that we do should be.
It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard charts, with the album popularity continuing on into 2001. The album's biggest hit was Put It On Me.
What would I be without my baby? The thought alone might.
When the single version of the song was released, they decided to add Lil Mo to the record, which was a great decision and made it easily one of the most requested songs on the radio. The song was the first song to be retired on BET's 106 in part after spending 60 days on the countdown. A few months later, they released I Cry with Little Mo, cementing this as a new direction for Ja.
Cause if I cry, you cry, we cry together.
This album also featured amazing records like Watching Me, 6 Feet Underground, and One of Us. In less than a year, Ja had readied his third album, which he named Pain is Love. With the addition of producer Seven Aurelius and new Murder Inc. signee Ashanti, Ja took everything he learned for 336 and leveled it up. Led by the Case assistant Living It Up,
To all my niggas that be living it up, he said,
Ja shot straight to #1 on the Billboard 200, putting him at the top of the game. Second and third singles, Always on Time featuring Ashanti,
I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always.
and Down Ass Bitch featuring Charlie Baltimore
baby say yeah, baby say yeah. If you lie for me.
took Ja to new heights. He also put the previous release X featuring Missy Elliott and I'm Real featuring Jennifer Lopez on this album.
'Cause I'm real.
Where you are.
Other great songs include Dial M for Murder, Never Again, and the Tupac remake So Much Pain featuring one of Pac's original verses. The success of Pain is Love made Ja a huge target amongst his hip-hop counterparts, but Ja kept pushing. Murder Inc., now going by the Inc., put out a compilation led by the hit Down For You featuring his cohorts Ashanti, Vita, and Charlie Baltimore.
Ain't only for the rule, baby.
Not much else was really memorable from this project. His fourth album was The Last Temptation. The album entered Billboard at #4 on the charts, led by the single Thug Lovin' featuring Bobby Brown. And weeks later, Mesmerized featuring Ashanti.
Girl, your stare, those eyes.
Love it when you look at.
We did get a quick head fake that Nas was signing with the Inc. on the Pledge remix,
Murder Inc., y'all. It's murder.
but that never came to fruition. During this album, the Ja Rule and 50 Cent beef was getting pretty intense and one-sided. Over the course of the next calendar year, Ja had had enough and decided that he wanted to respond back in songs. Not only did Ja respond in song, but almost an entire album. His fifth album, Blood in My Eyes, was a down point in his career. This album is a bit of a mess. The focus on 50 Cent had a negative effect on the album. Ja had been shackled by the investigation into Murder Inc. initially, and although months later, took this as a chance to set the record straight. The album debuted at #6 on the Billboard 200 and did have a few great records on it. Clap Back,
Back we go, back we go, back we go, back.
The Crown,
I know the second guessing the state I'm in. I'm in the
and Race Against Time are some of those. A year and a few days later, Ja Rule dropped his sixth album, R.U.L.E. The album put Ja back where he left off with Pain is Love. R.U.L.E. was led with the lead single, Wonderful featuring R. Kelly.
It's no wonder that I'm still here. Thought I was gone, but I'm still.
Both of them coming back into the music industry after being ignored by the industry for the previous year, this song had great timing and was just what Ja needed. The biggest record on his album, and one of Ja's biggest records of his career, came from the New York City anthem, New York, featuring verses from Fat Joe and Jadakiss as well.
I got 100. I'm from New York.
This isn't all this album has to offer though. You can find great songs with the Jagged Edge sample R.U.L.E., Life Goes On, Where I'm From, Passion, and a few others. The following year, Ja completed his contract with Murder Inc. and Def Jam with his greatest hits album, Exodus. After that, Ja went on a hiatus from music. He spent some time focusing on his Irvin Jeffrey clothing line. He had started with Irv Gotti in 2004. On the music side, Ja had went silent for a couple of years, aside from a few features here and there. He released a free mixtape for his fans, The Akin Files Volume 1, featuring songs previously unreleased and unsold. He announced the new album in 2007, but it came in the form of a mixtape in 2009. The Mirror is actually a pretty solid effort, all things considered. The team that put Magic together in the previous albums had all went their separate ways, but fractured, they gave R.U.L.E just enough for a great project. Some of the highlights include Uh-Oh featuring Lil Wayne, Judas, Damn, Something New, Hearsay, The Mirror, as well as some others. In 2012, Ja linked back up with producer Seven Aurelius to make a sequel to his best-selling album Pain is Love with PIL 2. The album is missing the spark that blew Ja up to begin with, but there is some meat on the bones for those that want to hear the growly voice MC. Some fire can be found on Real Life Fantasy, Superstar, To the Top, Believe, and some others. With the newer crop of MCs starting to take up space in the industry, Pain is Love 2 felt like it was from a previous generation. Also, a change in mixing quality takes away from the clarity of the mix on these records. Since 2012, Ja has dropped off Loosies here and there that are really dope. Some of them over the years include Mama, which came out in 2024, featuring Sada James, Blow, featuring Somag,
Back with ya, hit ya, back split ya. No biggie, the coupe doors flip up.
and Placebo, featuring Kyle Dion. He also has a whiskey line called Amber and Opal, which is now available everywhere. Also some business ventures in the tech space. R.U.L.E has also been a fairly successful actor. First starring in Turn It Up,
You gonna rap tonight, man? My nigga gonna rip shit down tonight.
then making a memorable appearance in The Fast and the Furious, Assault on Precinct 13, The Cookout,
Percival? Percival ass smacky?
And it's pronounced Asmokin. It's West Africa.
and more than 15 other movies with more on the way. Ja's pen game wasn't a joke either. He's given away hits as well as featured on great songs throughout his career. He gave 2 #1 songs to J-Lo with I'm Real and Ain't It Funny,
It must be the ass that got me like that.
lent his talents to What's Love for Fat Joe, and Rainy Days for Mary J. Blige, and many other great records. Ja Rule has one of the most decorated careers of any rapper we've seen in the industry, regardless of what you think. With over 30 million albums sold worldwide, with 3 #1 records sitting on the charts for a total of 85 weeks, it's safe to say that Ja is a legend. His music will play for decades and never be forgotten. Let's all take a moment to acknowledge one of the greats and give rose to, as Lior called him, the little guy with the big voice, one of the true masters of ceremony, Ja Rule.